Hey, good morning, friends. I'm so happy that you made it here, whether you're here, or you're here in the future. That little moment, yay, I made it to yoga. So let's go ahead and begin. Why don't you um, find it's each time we take our seated pose, every time we start our class, we can notice that every time we start, that it's a little bit different, right? That the body is like this today. I can feel into my body, and then I can be aware of like, what is the feeling tone today? What's my attitude? Even my mood. And then like, what's my mind doing? What am I thinking about? Is it relatively calm or is it really stirred up? So looking at these different kind of energies. And oftentimes what can happen is that they're kind of like conflicting energies that happen inside. Oftentimes the mind is racing, and yet the body is not doing anything. So Hatha yogis really explored this energy management and this, like, what it feels like when it's a little more unified and when the mind is calmer, maybe just a little more present and responding to moment sensations or whatever is arising. And then what it feels like just for the body to feel really just fluid and moving. So in a way, we're kind of matching these, that when we do a yoga pose, that this flow of energy in the mind, the body kind of feels like there's a unification. So let's go ahead and begin. Why don't you just start by taking your arms right down to the sides, kind of dropping your arms down and bringing awareness to your spine, that positioning, aligning, and that, like, yeah, this is a yoga pose. How are you sitting? Something that's really relevant in our seated pose is the position of your pelvis and the meeting of your pelvis, your thigh bones, like how your legs feel in their leg sockets. The whole pelvis is the pelvic bowl kind of upright. And then, of course, the spine, like as the pelvis is upright, then the spine can just lift like straight out of the pelvis. So this is about like finding this kind of most effortless way that you can position your bones. And this leads to a really spacious, open sense in the body. And we see that there is effort here. So we're putting forth just the right effort for the body, and kind of feeling like, ooh, this like moves energy in the body. Is doing this. There's energy, there's strength around your spine. And then the mind really collects and gets interested in this feeling, possibility of being spacious and non-distracted. So if we let go of all of our distractions, this can lead to a really different present moment experience. What does it feel like to be right here now and start to breathe a little deeper? The more we breathe, the more we feel. So when we reach the arms out to the sides now, like this is a really simple exercise of merging this mind energy, body energy. So when you inhale, you bring the arms all the way up. And then as you exhale, you release the arms all the way down. You might even close your eyes as you do this and really create, like do this consciously, a steadiness. Because the breath can affect the mind activity, and the breath can affect the body. Like the breath kind of feels the body. Feeling not only the strength you're using to do this, but you can feel, oh, I could actually relax as I do this. All of these instructions lead to your experience of a direct experience of unification. Soften your throat, eyes and eyeballs. Keep that energy flowing through the spine. Stay really grounded down. Lifting up through the crown of your head, even spacious around your brain. Now, next time your arms come down, you're just going to pause. And as you pause, you might notice how you feel right now. What's happened. So that was like, 7 minutes of practice. If you don't have time to take an hour and 15 minutes to do yoga, you could always play this video again and just do that 7 minutes of like if you're feeling anxious or, those moments where it's like things aren't going my way, that it just this, could be a really wise thing to do. So we're going to go ahead and continue though. We're going to let go of our seated pose. Let's go right back to our mat. And we're going to go right onto all fours. So we're going to let the spine move here. So this is another one of those warm-ups where we start to move the spine. So cat and cow, little small waves of cat and cow. Breathing and feeling. Now, as soon as we move, the thing about moving the body is that it often tends to move the mind. So that's why I like these really steady, mindful movements. Because it tends to really lead to a more harmonious, deep friendship. Balanced energy. There's that little effort here as you're going back and forth of keeping your shoulders back away from your ears. Feeling, just imagine or feel into every single vertebra as you do this. And this is just a great way to build that deep, deep awareness. Like if you bring awareness down to the lowest vertebra, your sacrum is moving, but then what about your lumbar area? And then what about your middle of your back? Feel into these areas, or your whole upper thoracic area, upper spine, Thoracic moves right into the neck, cervical vertebra. All the way up to your brain. Good. We're going to let the toes tuck under. We're going to go right into downward facing dog. Now, as you lift up here, you might like right away shift your feet or your hands a little bit, but I'm just doing that initial lifting up here and lift your heels up, lift your hips way up. And just breathing, feel the length of your spine here. Even move your head, let it look side to side. Nice, loose, long neck. Now let the knees just touch right back down and move back to your child pose. So even though these are some, very basic warm-up movements, they are so necessary because we want things kind of simple. Let's do down dog again. This time, you're going to take your hands forward a bit more. So there's going to be more distance between your hands and your feet. So what happens when you lift up now? When we get more distance, when we reach the hands forward like this, it does turn into a bit more upper body work. So breathe, feeling into this. Notice at any point if the mind suddenly goes aflutter, we want to be aware of that, which is a little challenging because the mind can get suddenly really distracted. And well, then it's distracted. So we have to notice that we're distracted. Moving now to your plank pose. Straighten arms and legs. Draw the tailbone in a little bit here. And then you lightly touch your knees down. You go back to your child pose. Can you feel like that pull through your spine? So this is that sequence. I love to just start to build on this. Now I'm going to build on it like in my own way. If you find that your body wants to do something else, of course you can. So I'm going to lift back up to downward facing dog. And I'm going to reach up to my three-legged dog. So I'm going to reach my right leg up and then bring my right foot down and then take my left leg up. And I'm just reaching up here. I'm going to go back and forth with the legs, that reaching one up at a time. And so as I keep practicing, we get kind of hone in on how to do this with ease. And then moving to your plank pose. From your plank pose, touch your knees down, go back to child pose. Now in your child pose, you're going to come up a little bit, walk your hands over to the right, even just slightly, and then go back to child pose. You just really reach your hips back and get that breath moving into your left side, like you could breathe into your left ribs. Feeling and sensing into this side stretch, this around even your shoulder, arms. Now, as you come up a little bit, let's just walk the hands over to your left side so that this is going to stretch now your right side of your body. Reach your hips back. Flow of breath really helps us feel into this connecting of these energies of the flow through the body, the flow through the mind. And then as you come up, Taking the hands back. Yes, we are going to go back to down dog. This time as you lift up to down dog, the right leg is going to come up. We'll take a big inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to bring your knee into your chest. You squeeze here, and then you inhale. Leg lifts up, and you bring your knee into your chest. You squeeze. Doing this in your own way. And then that right foot comes down, the left leg goes up. Same action, the leg is straight, and then you're going to pull the knee into the chest. As you exhale, you squeeze. Good, and then taking yourself right to a plank pose. From plank pose, lightly touch your knees down and really find just the right position in a way for your knees so you can be in a low lunge, which means like low plank position, like knee down plank, and do just a few push-ups where you bend your elbows, you straighten your elbows. Now this, you could start out really small, like a little bend, straighten, a little bend, straighten, a little bend. You can lower as low as you want. Good, and then lower all the way down. Now as you lower down, you're going to take your hands forward so that your hands, we're going to take the hands one on top of the other, and then just take your forehead on your hands. And just do a little leg work here, a little back of the leg, working the glutes a little bit. You're going to lengthen and lift your right leg up. So really firm through the right glutes. And then right leg down, and then lengthen and lift the left leg. Breathe as you're doing this. Left leg down, and just lift and lower, go back and forth. In simple repetition. You can sense how your airways are open. You're not like clenching or gripping anywhere, other than really using the muscles that you need to use here. When you're lifting your leg, you could imagine that you're like lifting the leg in a way that your inner thigh is lifting up. So in other words, when you lift your leg up, you don't want to be rotating the leg. Okay, like the top of the foot stays down, pointing down. Knees are pointing down the whole time. Good, and then we'll just go back to down dog. So you have to slide your hands way back. Draw the shoulders back, draw your elbows in, toes tuck under, and then you push into your hands and you lift up. Now let your knees bend a little bit here. So when you softly bend your knees, you reach your hips way back. You might even take your feet a little wider apart and get a sense like your pubic bone is reaching back between your legs. And then start to straighten your legs and reach your heels down. Nice deep calf stretch there. Even so much that you reach your heels down and you lift your toes up. And then come to standing. Just walk forward. Come all the way up. As you come to standing, arms drop right down alongside you. Mountain pose. Look forward. So kind of like we were sitting, you just want to find the work involved here, how to stand upright, and that it takes effort to really stand upright. And feel it internally. It's really spacious and open. So you're not like tensing up in order to stand upright. So this is that exploration then of right effort. So noting the energy or the strength in your spine here. And we're going to maintain that nice deep strength of the spine as we start to do just a really basic marching motion. So as you start to do a marching action, you could let your arms swing, but even note how your head is lifting up like it was a balloon, like just lifting up, lifting up, lifting up. Really smooth breath. You're not lifting your shoulders at all. In fact, it might even feel like your shoulders are relaxing down. Now you go a little bit slower, but really start to lift the knees up. Okay, so you're playing with, and then not only lifting your knee up, but straighten the standing leg. Okay, so it's like you're briefly balancing. So it's going to get harder when you go slower. Light chest, light around your heart. Now, the next leg that you lift up, that knee, like if you lift it way up, we're going to open that knee out to the side. And you might even grab your ankle as you go to tree pose. You might place your foot on your inner thigh, but you want to make sure that the mind stays really quiet and it's actually quiet so it can listen to the body. Really feel into what works today. So it's very quick, like a very quick connection and honesty and truth. You know, this is what mindfulness kind of feels like, is you're letting go of the ways you want your tree to be, and you're just with the way it is today. Even letting go of the idea of form or, you know, some constructed idea of what this is supposed to look like. We feel into the energy in the body. The mind is even like that, just that sense of the mind or the feeling tone is one of care and compassion. Having a body is hard, difficult. Now, go ahead and release. Whichever foot is up, it comes down. And we're going to bring that other knee up. So we're just going to lift it up. So I know that leg was just working. So open that knee out to the side. Maybe grab your ankle. Placing the foot on the inner thigh or the inner calf. You know, it really doesn't matter of that, the form or what it looks like. We're more interested in what this feels like. We're interested in being free. So breathe and feel. And this might take a little experimenting, you know. What happens in these different positions? Different ways of positioning your bones, your limbs. What leads to this unification and this harmony? Letting go. Arms come down. Foot comes down. So we are going to move to the front of our mat. We'll take just a few sun breaths here. You could be in the middle of the mat also. Feet are parallel. And just reach your arms up. Lift up the whole front of the body. Lift your kneecaps. Lift navel up. And just in a kind of gentle way, like the skin on the front of your body just goes up. And then you reach your arms way out to the side. You keep that little lift of the chest as you hinge at your hips and you go into your forward bend. The legs are working. Now, as you drop your head here for a moment, it's not only dropping, you're almost reaching the crown of the head down. But let's keep the toes a little bit lifted. And just practice that. Like the soles of the feet are very open. And now you can relax your toes. You're going to bend your knees a little bit. When you bend your knees, make sure they go straight forward. Okay? You're not drooping the knees in or out. You're not drooping your ankles. Ankles stay kind of lifted up. You might even take your hands down to your ankles, like pull up. And then straighten your legs out. Do that again. Bend your knees. And then straighten your legs. Now, come all the way up. Push into the feet. All the way up. Reach your arms up. Lift up. Big inhale. And then you exhale. And you go all the way over. So just doing that leg exercise to wake up. Now you're just going to let this flow and move. Breathing, moving. As you're doing this repetition, mind is calming, non-distracted. We generate interest in this. Next time you fold over, you're going to stay there. And we're going to take the right foot and just keep the right foot forward. I'm going to even step forward a little bit and then step my left leg way back, left foot back into a big lunge position. So the back leg is really straight. Like I can feel that work around my left knee to keep that knee really straight. Let's take right hand up to your right thigh. So that right shoulder is just going to roll open a little bit. As it rolls open, you might slide your hand back to more of your right hip. Let's make sure that that right knee is not pushing or drooping out to the right. So you kind of hug that right thigh in, okay? Just a little weight on your bottom hand and then twist. Reach that right arm, like wherever it opens to. So there's no like pushing, there's no ouch in your joints. Big breath. release this twist. Take that right hand back down. And just move back to downward facing dog. Grounding your hands. Where's the pressure in your hands? Be mindful of that grounding. I've called that before the horseshoe shape of your hands. So with the horseshoe, there's like that little gap, which is right at your carpal tunnel at the middle of your wrist. So you do not want to push that center of the wrist down. Move to your plank pose. Very lightly touch your knees down. Move to your belly as you reach your legs back here. Start to lift towards a cobra pose and then very lightly kind of sneak into your sphinx pose. So your forearms are down and you're reaching. Now, in sphinx, you might be able to kind of pull your belly button forward. And then the center of your spine pulls in. So you're contracting your back muscles, shoulders drop down. So this is a good one. Usually it's quite a bit of sensation here. So you really breathe and you feel, dropping your tailbone. So sometimes we do this in down dog where I'll say, take your feet wider apart. So here, let's just experiment, like take your legs a little wider apart. So what this can do is it can give some space in your hip joints and your whole pelvis. So now, like really press your pubic bone down. So you might notice like, oh, the whole pelvis can just move a little bit more with this distance. So I'm really grounding my pubic bone down. I'm contracting right at like the base of the butt. And then even lift a little higher, maybe straighten your arms. Continue to reach the chest forward, but really pull your tailbone in. And all of this is according to how this feels. So we breathe in. It's not so much what the mind wants the body to do. It's really how this feels. You might be just down a little bit lower in your Sphinx pose. So as we release, you lower down, you slide your hands way back, toes tuck under. And as you lift to your down dog, you might still have your feet a little wider apart. And now we're going to reach the pubic bone way back between the legs. Now this is going to untuck your tailbone. You can take your feet a little closer together here because we're going to reach the right leg back. We're going to lift it up and reach it back. And we're going to pull the knee into the chest again. It's going to squeeze and do that one more time. The leg reaching up. And then pulling the knee into the chest is really squeeze. Lift your navel up. And then do the same thing one more time, but this time we will step the right foot forward. So as you pull that knee into the chest, you squeeze, and then the foot kind of hops up towards the hands. So we're going to lift up to our crescent. We're going to go all the way up, push down into your feet, almost like heavy and grounded here. Straighten that back leg. The arms reach out to the sides. Lift up to your spine. Lift up, up, up. Breathe. And then move into your twist. You twist to the right. Your arms can reach out to the side, way out. So your collarbones are wide. So you're not like sinking your chest in here. You stay wide. Good. Let's take left hand, just lightly touch right thigh. Twist, twist, twist. Breathe. Fewer words. So again, we can tell that we're breathing and feeling into this. Now, as you let this go, face the front. You could take hands on your hips, drop the back foot down. Now you can briefly straighten your right leg and notice the difference of how this feels, because we're going to go to warrior two. So instead of facing forward, now your chest and your face is going to face the left. Open the left foot a little bit as you bend your right knee again. So the chest, the breastbone is thoroughly facing the left. Reach the arms out to the side so that left arm is reaching back, right arm reaching forward. As you're bending the right knee, you might take a wider stance. Straighten left leg. So you do let like deepen your right hip kind of sinks down a little bit. And yet at the same time, you're lifting your pelvic floor up. So there is that kind of dropping into the lunge, but a lifting up to the spine. Bend your right elbow, extend out to the right, and just drop that right forearm down to your thigh. Top arm reaches alongside your head. Now we're in Parsva Konasana, our side angle pose. Could you really lengthen the spine, like straight, so you're not bowing your spine at all? Take the top hand to your hip. Look down. Start to straighten your right leg and take your hand on your right shin or wherever it feels just right as you go to triangle pose. Firmly straighten your legs. Lengthen your spine. Keep your shoulders back away from your ears. Stabilize your joints. And without even reaching that top arm up, just open your top shoulder. Keep your legs firm and straight. Your knees are strong. There's a twist here. Free breath. Good. Now, as you let go, you're going to look down. Bring your hands down as you go back to down dog. So right foot is going to step back. Breathe in your down dog. Even close your eyes. Having this moment of stillness. If down dog is not a place where you experience stillness, you could touch your knees down or you could go to child pose. Again, we kind of cut through to the truth. Where is that stillness available to you? Now we're going to do the left side. So wherever you are, you move to your down dog and then to your three-legged dog with your left leg up. And you pull the knee into the chest. You just exhale, you squeeze, and then you inhale, the leg goes back. And then you exhale, you squeeze, you pull your knee in. And you inhale, leg goes back. And that third one, you really lift your navel up, you squeeze, and your foot hops forward. So you're in your high lunge position. Breathe into this present experience. Sometimes the mind likes to jump ahead Like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? Now we have to do all those other poses. So you're just here, straighten the back leg. So that's what we do. We generate interest in what's happening right now. Left hand moves up to the left thigh. Squeeze the legs together. So you're not letting that left leg droop out to the left. It hugs in. Open the shoulder, that left shoulder, and you might take your left hand like back to your hip. Keeping the legs hugging together, you might reach your left arm up. Now, whole body here, straighten the back leg. Feel spine lengthening as you're twisting. And the body is breathing into this. Twist. As you untwist, hand comes down, moving into, so right here, we're pausing. Let's move back to our down dog, step back. So no, that was right. We should go up to our crescent pose, I think, next. We have to step that left foot forward again. Then we go right up in the crescent. So push down, get nice and grounded, stable, and right away as you come up, if this feels wobbly, you pause. So it is a lot about this distance between your feet that you are choosing. You know, again, with mindfulness, we hone right in on it. We don't have ideas of how far apart we should be. We feel. So arms go out, straighten the back leg. So in this pose, you can have arms out. If you want that kind of a little more work, you could reach your arms up. And again, we twist, we open to the left. And that right hand touches your right or your left thigh. Feel whole body. As you let go, pause, you just take hands on your hips and we drop that back foot. So as it drops, both legs straighten and really face the right. So your chest is facing the right. Right foot might open a little bit. Warrior two, we bend the left knee again. So completely different position through your pelvis to find the footing here. Arms reaching out to the sides. Straighten the right leg. So that left hip, instead of it kind of floating up, like as it sinks down, that's that deep bending of the left knee. Very strong, though. You lift your pelvis or that floor of the pelvis. Breathe. Bend the left elbow. Now we don't just drop the forearm down, we actually extend the whole torso out to the left, then the forearm touches, maybe right above your knee. And that top arm extends. You play with that position of the arm reaching alongside your head. And then just take that top hand to your hip and look down and start to straighten that left leg. So your left hand is going to lightly touch the leg, almost like you can feel like your legs are really working, firm, straightening, stabilizing you, and then the spine grows. explore triangle pose. Wide across your chest. So I'm just letting that top shoulder really roll open. Sides of the body really lengthen out here. Good. So as you look down, we're going to release our triangle pose. Hands are going to come down. I'm going to step back to down dog again. Breathe. Now, briefly just let your knees touch down and even keep your legs together as you go to child pose. Fold over your legs. This, naturally might be a different sensation in your hips, your knees, even your whole spine when you keep your legs together in child pose. And just bring yourself right up to all fours. Pause. And keeping your legs together, your knees together here on all fours. We're going to do our this balancing pose of quarter moon pose. Possibly we did this last week, but just really gotten into this way of stretching your quad muscles. Take your left foot and open it to the left. Now reach your right leg back, extend it back. You're lifting it up, it's reaching back, and you're flexing that right foot. So you're reaching back through your heel, and then you open your right hip. And as it opens up, then you lift your right hand up. You start to let yourself, get positioned so you can balance here. Again, I'm just opening my top shoulder. And then as I'm ready, reaching that top arm up. Breathe, align, stabilize. You feel that powerful reach back through that back leg. So that back leg is extended and open. So you can feel that energetic flow down through that leg. From here, you're going to bend that right knee. Now, as you bend the knee, ideally, your right knee is not releasing forward. It's not moving like in the front plane of your body. It's continuing to reach back. And you're pulling your right foot in towards your butt. And then maybe your right hand could reach back and actually grab your foot back there. Draw your tailbone in. Reach back through your right knee, kind of your whole right thigh, reaching back and stretching the front of your right hip and your right quads, those thigh muscles. So you could explore here, like drawing your foot in towards the butt, breathing. Maybe little teeny movements here, but stay with the sensation of the stretch, not avoiding it. Slowly let go. Just really gradually letting go. That right hand can just go right back to the floor, and then the right knee touching down. And just move back to your all fours. We're going to take just a few cat and cow here. Just breathing, moving your spine. Practicing again this whole notion of non-distraction. Sometimes the first thing we notice is that we are naturally very distracted. So let's not be alarmed if the mind keeps going off in different directions. And that we realize, like, oh, this does take practice. Staying here. So now take knees together. We'll do the other side where the right foot moves out to the right a little bit, and the left leg is going to reach way back. As it reaches back, push into the floor. So you're really grounded, but there's this sense of lifting, of kind of buoyancy as you come up, opening left hip, left shoulder, breathing, maybe left arm reaching up. Again, to wake up all the strength here. Align so you can breathe into the whole body. And then start to bend that left knee. So as you bend the knee, reaching, maybe the hand grabbing the foot. So the reason we keep like the tailbone in rather than really untucking the tailbone is to keep the lower back, the lumbar area, from compressing. So we do not want to overarch the lower back. You might even feel like your navel contract in a little bit. You're not pushing your ribs out. So breathe. A lot of these really little movements here. To like, just that right. Stretch through your quads. Stay with that sensation. Playing with even the alignment, like through your head, your neck, throat. It's true that bottom arm is working your bottom leg just to hold you up here. Draw the foot in toward the butt. Deep stretch through the left thigh. So see if you could steady the breath here, that instead of bringing your awareness to the thinking about this, you're interested in feeling, deeply feeling. We'll gradually release. So lightly you come out of this. Hand down, knee down. Let the knee separate a little bit. Cat and cow. Close your eyes and just feel like, spine moving, bringing this big fluid action. Now, instead of just a cat and cow here, next time you're in that cat pose where you're arching your back, you're going to push back towards a child pose. So when we did that longer hold, we were really bending our knees. So you might even find that your child pose, you really fold deeply into this. Because we just practice, we stretch the quads, and so they can allow this deep flexion in your knees. Come back up. Couple more cat and cow. Letting this really flow. Good. Now, as you let this go, we're going to sit for a moment. We're going to just sit where you're, we're going to lean back and just take the feet wide apart. So let's do that floppy knee action where the legs drop back and forth. We're just going to do some different positions now with the hips. Let's take soles of the feet together and take Baddha Konasana. So this is the foot position, but I really want to work on the pelvis position. So I could bring myself a little more upright here, but make sure that your navel is not pulling in. We want to make sure that your tailbone is actually untucking rather than scooping under. So I'm going to grab my ankles with my hands, and I could feel right now like my tailbone is really scooping under. So I'm going to start to rock back and forth. And as I'm rocking, I'm going to lift my chest up a little bit. I'm going to practice untucking my tailbone and kind of spilling my whole pelvis forward. And I'm just rocking in order to just feel this in my hips. I'm drawing my spine in. Good. Now, as you pause here, just take your hands behind you and then even use that pushing into the hands to draw your spine in. Reach your knees way out to the side, wide across your chest. So this one too requires a deep bend of your knees. And since we just practiced that, you could even draw your feet in closer. Really bend your knees here. And you're also reaching the knees way out to the side. Now that's more of the rotation in your hip joints. Steady breath, airways are open. Now, as we let go of this, we're going to let the legs cross. So you're just crossing, cross-legged position. In a way, it doesn't matter which leg is in front. Take your arms down alongside you. And we're going to take your right arm up. We're going to do lifting right up, right arm. And then go up and over. So now I'm in a side stretch of right side of the body. Ground your hips. Do not tip over. So I'm grounding, pushing right hip down. Lots of space. Breathe through your nose. Now that top right shoulder, we're actually going to let it roll forward. So that as it rolls forward, you're kind of twisting a little bit to face over your left leg, your left thigh. And then we're going to just release down that arm and extend out over that left leg. Take your hands, your fingers, like wherever it works, just so that you're not like caving your chest in here and trying to drop your head down to your knee. Rather, I'm reaching my chest, my heart out over the leg. Breathe to your pelvis. Breathing way deep into the body. Like lots of time. I like to stay sometimes on fingertips as I walk my arms, my hands forward. It keeps a lot of space in the chest and throat. So this is a good one for keeping that right hip really grounded down. So you can open that right side. Good. And then coming up, as you come up, arms right down alongside you, taking your left arm up. Stay grounded. Take your right hand down a little bit so you can go up and over to this side stretch for that left side. So we breathe and we feel, kind of decreasing the mental activity, increasing the awareness of the body, just feeling your body here. Feeling the energy moving through your body. So this doesn't mean that we're having to move the body a lot. It's like we're moving the energy in the body. Breath moving through the body. So that left shoulder now is going to roll forward, and you can just let that left hand touch down. Maybe lift up, lengthen the spine a little bit, and your little twist as you extend out over the right leg. Now we really have to breathe because this can be a lot of sensation. And if we're not consciously breathing here, we can get really tight. Playful, little different, positions of your fingertips. Breathe into your belly. Remember, this is that deep breath is that signal to your body telling it, like, allow this. Allow this deep stretch. And then slowly walking back up, upright. As you bring yourself upright, align so that you're like your head straight up. We're going to cross the legs the other way, unless this is for some reason just it hurts, then you could stay at first position. And then just a really basic forward fold. Walk your fingers forward. So I'm staying like up on fingertips. Belly is dropping down. Again, rather than like the navel kind of pulling in. So melting your spine into your body. And then as you come up here, just walking your hands back. So as we release this, we're going to lean back, open your feet out to the side, and just drop your knees back and forth. That loose action start to even go a little bit of a twisting. A little bit of a twisting, like just what feels right through your hips. so that you're not suddenly tensing, really guided by this free quality of, how much are you twisting back here? Now, before we take Shavasana, we're going to do one little action where you recline, and we're going to do just a really gentle lifting and lowering in and out of bridge pose, right? So go ahead and recline and take your arms down alongside you and find your feet and ground your feet down. So we just want to make sure that we stay very relaxed as we go to bridge. So start bridge small. You push into your feet. You lift your butt away from the floor just a little bit. And you breathe and maybe lift a little bit higher by pushing your feet down, grounding your shoulders. So keep the throat really relaxed. And go ahead and just release down. Even close your eyes here. Maybe you reposition your feet a little bit. So we have to explore. Maybe shoulders roll under slightly, lift into your bridge again. Like each time you experiment with that placement, lift and lower, just really fluid, moving in and out of this. Taking your arms like wherever it works. Notice how this feels, like through the upper back of your neck. This can be a really good stretch for the neck and it's that sense of not bunching your shoulders up at all. So can you lift up into this, lift your breastbone in a way that your shoulder blades drop down, and it can feel like a little stretch through that neck trapezius area. Make sure you're not crushing your throat. You are using your glute muscles here, butt muscles work. Flow of breath, no obstacles within. Like imagine this whole body is really spacious. Let's do one more, lift and lower. Good. Next time you lower down, you can find your Shavasana, the body really slowly, gradually. You could even tell, like, is the body might cool down and get a little chilly. So you could grab a blanket, cover up, stay cozy, move directly into this pose. So how do we know? How can you tell that the body is free of tension? What does it feel like? It might be that same feeling. It's hard to put into words. Like when someone is talking to you and you can tell what it feels like when you're listening fully, like you're listening with your whole being, you're listening to them. So, in that same way, your body is communicating with you right now. What is it saying? Can you listen and knowing that the body doesn't use words? So, what do you feel? And then the mind can use some really simple words like let go, and practicing letting go. Whatever it is, put it down, let it go. In this pose, there's no effort, letting go of all effort. So there might be a feeling of physical, like heaviness, dropping into the mat or the floor or the blanket, whatever you're on. Feel the releasing the weight of your head, releasing the weight of your arms. Feel the weight of your upper back dropping, maybe the pressure, releasing and feeling just the weight of your whole pelvis, your butt on the floor, your dropping the weight of your legs by releasing deep in your hip joints. Usually we don't let go all at once. So we need the repetition here. Letting go and letting go. And now the breath is just breathing you. There's no controlling the breath. We don't need to use the eyes even, just visually the eyes can relax. It's so good to remember that we're not here in Shavasana to fall asleep. Rather, it's a really conscious experience of being free of tension. Oh, this is what it feels like. even just a little bit free. The sound of the bell then is not alarming or not really even thinking of this as that we're done. This is a transition. Now the body is moving again. So we've taken this time of formal practice of being embodied and letting our awareness continue to flow inward, flow inward. So as you come up to seated, we'll take palms together in front of the heart, maybe setting this intention, may I continue to be aware, be sensitive, this ongoing connection, relationship with my body. And it helps to keep us sensitive and keep kind of our feelers out. And may this lead to a connection with all beings and being sensitive. What we do, what we say, what we think really matters. May we continue to do this work that leads to the freedom of all beings. Let's close with the sound of Om. We'll take a deep inhale. Wishing you a wonderful practice off the mat. So today is Friday morning, and I'll just mention this coming up tomorrow morning. I do have Saturday morning class from 9 to 11. And you might be aware that I am going to be leading a retreat in April, and it is from the 8th to the 11th, and it will be an in-person retreat out in Wisconsin at the Christine Center. Christine Center, it just so happens to be a place where people can just really be on retreat and have their own space, their own cabin or room. So I'm, really going to be, keeping in mind that, we're still in this arena of living through this pandemic together. But I thought we would take some time just to practice together out in the woods. So if you want information on that retreat or all of my other classes, you could go to boleryoga.com. And yeah, otherwise, another, good place to look for other retreats or ways of practicing is right here at Common Ground. The Common Ground meditation.org at their website. So many offerings that are just fascinating to look through, and different communities that meet and community is really important right now. So I give you a little nudge to check out the Common Ground website. And if you want to, you can donate. And, all of these online opportunities are offered freely. So if it feels right in your heart that you would like to donate, you can do that. And there's ways both on my website and on the Common Ground website. And I'll just take a moment to say thank you for all of the ways that you have given your time, your energy, your money, or ways to um, continue this growth, this way that we grow spiritually, and yourself, and the way you support other people in the community. So thank you just for being here. And thanks for your comments. It's so wonderful to hear people, knowing that people are out there. Thank you all so much. Um, I am going to leave it here. Again, wishing you a wonderful practice.